Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Very Cold Lasagna Podcast, your place for all your filthy casual takes on the world of sports for you filthy casual sports fans out there like you and me. In this episode number 249, we're here to rumble. Yes, that is right, ladies and gentlemen. We're here to talk about a Royal Rumble. A Royal Rumble that happened this past weekend at the beginning of February on a Saturday night in Indianapolis. And yeah, that Royal Rumble pay-per-view event, or as the cool kids like to say nowadays, a PLE that WWE hosted in Indy. So yeah, we're here to talk about the Royal Rumble, the 2025 edition that kicked off the road to WrestleMania 41 in a rather very interesting way per se. But we'll talk about whether or not I find that a very interesting way in this filthy casual review of the 2025 edition of the WWE Royal Rumble in this episode of the Very Cold Lasagna Podcast. But before we get started with this episode, a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. Make sure you follow Very Cold Lasagna on social media for more of my filthy casual stuff at Very Cold Lasagna, and listen to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's on Apple or Spotify. And if you're watching the video version on YouTube, make sure to smash the subscribe button if you're not subscribed already, which you should, by the way, for all the filthy casual goodness, especially for the stuff that's exclusive on YouTube. And make sure you smash the like button and leave your comments down below for your own filthy casual takes on the topic at hand, with this being the 2025 Royal Rumble and your thoughts on especially the winners of both Royal Rumble matches. And as always, share this with your friends, share this with your neighbors, share this with the stranger, share this with your colleagues, whether it's at work or school. Share the good, the bad, the ugly about this filthy casual podcast entitled Very Cold Lasagna. So with that being said, let's talk about this rather interesting pay-per-view, the 2025 edition of the WWE Royal Rumble, taking place at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. The 38th annual Royal Rumble pay-per-view. It was first announced on June 24th of last year by the WWE in partnership with the Indiana Sports Corporation as part of this new multi-year deal at the time that would see the Indianapolis Colts Stadium get a Royal Rumble, a WrestleMania, and a SummerSlam in the span of multiple years up to 2030. I believe it's up to 2030 when that deal goes up to, but I digress. So the first up was the Royal Rumble, and this is the first of, I believe, 2 or 3 things for the WWE when it comes to this Royal Rumble. So the first thing that came to my mind was the Royal Rumble for the first time was going to be taking place on February. Specifically, this took place on February 1st of this year. And that's the latest. For all the historians out there, saying, oh, yeah, we love history. And for all the people that don't like history, kind of like myself, even though I do a lot of retro reviews here on Very Cold Lasagna. But nonetheless, for all the people that are not the biggest fans of history, including me, yeah, this marked the first ever Royal Rumble to take place in February, which was the latest to ever have taken place. Traditionally, the Royal Rumble has taken place in January. Think of it like the NFL playoffs. Think of it like the NFL. Think of it like the NFL playoffs being the kickoff to the road to the Super Bowl. Imagine if the Super Bowl started in March and then the playoffs started in February, something like that. So something along the lines like that. So it's kind of like this. The Royal Rumble being in February and then WrestleMania being in mid-April. So this Royal Rumble also marked the first time that it took place inside of an NFL stadium. Normally in recent years, it took place inside of baseball stadiums because, well, the MLB is on break. It's during the off season. For the NFL, either it's available at this point for the Colts. I mean, it was available for the WWE because, well, the Colts ain't going anywhere in the playoffs. But also, it was beneficial for WWE because it was a roofed stadium. But generally for the WWE, most NFL stadiums are available to them during the playoffs, or it's not suitable for them because going back to what I said about roof stadiums, yeah, having a Royal Rumble isn't ideal to do in an open air stadium. Like say, for example, MetLife, where they're going to have SummerSlam this year. Doing that in winter, it's cold as hell. Yeah, imagine doing a Royal Rumble where it's, even if it's not snowing, doing it in like 20 degrees, or like even if it's like on a really cold day, like in freezing temperatures, yeah, that wouldn't be ideal. Like that'd be like that'd be very cold as heck. I don't think you want to torture them at all with that. Even if you did in Florida, like with Hard Rock or Raymond James, I mean, probably not the most ideal either, because it could be raining. Hey, even here in California, like you probably wouldn't want to do that either, because even if you had that pillar canvas thing, it's not going to protect the wrestlers from the rain. Just saying. So, yeah, this marked the first time the Royal Rumble was hosted inside of an NFL stadium. So, yeah, it's the first of a couple things for the WWE with this Royal Rumble. So, as per tradition for the last 30 plus years, and has been for like the last 7-8 years, when it comes to this specific thing, the signature match was the 30-person Royal Rumble matches. And why do I say matches? Well, there were two. There were two Royal Rumble matches, one for the men and one for the women. So, for those of you that are new to the Very Cold Lasagna Podcast, or even the vets here on Very Cold Lasagna Podcast that happen to show up every once in a while, well, let me give you a little debriefer, a little like side checker on what exactly is the Royal Rumble match in a nutshell. The Royal Rumble match is basically a battle royal, a timed Royal Rumble battle royal where wrestlers enter at timed intervals. There's two people that start out the match in the number they drew, and then every person comes out with the number they drew at, I'd say 90 seconds is what they're given. And the last person standing wins a world championship match of their choice at WrestleMania. So this year it was no different than has been for the last several years. For this year, the men had the option of either going for the WWE or World Heavyweight Championship, while the women had the option of going for the WWE Women's or the Women's World Championship. So that's basically the glitz, the notes, and all the good background of this year's Royal Rumble in the Indy. Yes, the Indianapolis, Indiana. And, good old Pat McAfee had a good amount to do it, to bring it to Indianapolis. And good for him, too. He's more than deserved to bring it over there. So, now that we talked about what exactly brought this Royal Rumble together, let's talk about the show itself, because my goodness, as if last year's Royal Rumble didn't do enough to get me hyped about it, probably this one takes the cake. And I say that probably every year in the last couple of years. Since I didn't even cover 2022, but my God, I was almost close to not covering this year because I had no hype. I literally had no hype for this pay-per-view going in, because WWE really didn't do anything to get me excited for either one of these Royal Rumble matches. Maybe I just really couldn't get into any of the build-up for either one of these Royal Rumble matches. I mean, they were trying with the men's. They're trying to get some excitement and intrigue with the men's, but then everything else was just there's nothing there. There really wasn't anything there. And then the fact that there was only 4 matches on this card, and I get it, there was only 4 last year, But this was a 4.5 hour show. Like, and they didn't use the 4.5 hours properly again. It's like, that's way too much, man. It's like, they don't know how to pace these shows properly. This is so bad. This is so bad. I remember like when I did the Royal Rumble retro reviews of 2005 and 2015, they at least knew how to pace their shows properly with backstage segments and, some filler stuff. Even 2005, they used their time properly with these backstage segments that set up the night. They can't even do that now because, you got to get your cameos in, you got to get your sponsorships in, and I get it, you got to get that ad money, but you got to at least get some backstage segments in to, set things up for tonight or set things up for down the road. It's like what's wrong with Triple H? Like what's wrong with that man? Like this is a pay-per-view that he's booking for what? Like 4.5 hours and he can't properly use his time. Unbelievable. So, speaking of unbelievable and not properly using his time, not putting enough care into, well, let's talk about the first match. The Women's Royal Rumble match. Sometimes I didn't think this match was even on the card at all. And this is not a slight towards the women's roster. It's just that they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything to build up like any legit threat, any legit options for this women's Royal Rumble match. Like, I couldn't think of any options out there right now. Out there going into this Royal Rumble other than like one or two, and that's it. And even my preferred option was burned back down just weeks before this event, and I knew that person had no shot at winning it, and even with all my faint hope, they had no shot at winning it, and that's sad. That's really, really sad. And with all those certain hype packages that were playing throughout the weeks, it was all but inevitable. Just that Chiefs three-peat that's going to happen in a matter of days. So let's talk about this Royal Rumble match that pretty much had no hype going for it. So we started off the match with Io Sky and Liv Morgan drawing the first two entries. The number 2 spot for Liv Morgan, pretty familiar territory for her. Like it was 2 years ago when she started with Rhea Ripley in that 2023 Rumble. And, you have to think, when I was watching that match, maybe third time is the charm for Liv. For as delusional as I was watching that match, maybe third time is the charm, despite, the direction that, Big Nose was and is going to be booking for her going into this WrestleMania, despite the 2024 that she had. Anyway, they started the match. And, as I talk about these Royal Rumble matches, because, they're egregiously long, here on Very Cold Lasagna, we talk about, the highlights and the things that I personally saw, because, going through every single thing that happened in these Rumble matches, it's going to take forever. And I really don't want to waste your time talking about every single entry and elimination, because that would just be taking forever. So looking at some NXT representation in this Royal Rumble match, we had Roxanne Perez, Lash Legend, Jada Parker, Stephanie Vakir, and the NXT Women's Champion, Gilia. They entered in this Royal Rumble at number 3, 9, 16, 24, and 29, respectively. So, a decent showing of NXT girlies in this matchup. Bianca Belair, the one and a half of the NXT Women's the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, enter at number 10. And when she came in with a flurry. And I thought she had a pretty good showing in this match, dominating the field that she was there at the time. And she still looked pretty good during the time that she was in this match. And everybody's favorite trio showed up as well. The No Pop Collective showed up. Zoe Stark, Shayna Baszler, and Sonya Deville. They all entered at varying points, but they dominated in the early portion of this match. But they were soon eliminated a couple minutes later with some teamwork from Bianca, Naomi, Bayley, and Io Sky. Piper Niven came in at number 17, but once she came in, she soon accidentally eliminated her ally, Chelsea Green, who had another good showing in this match to loud boos. A little surprised that Chelsea didn't last longer than she did, but oh well. I blame her damn secretary, Piper Niven. Good job, man. Good job. Jordynne Grace made her official move from TNA to WWE at number 19. And, well, if I say what I say about Jordynne Grace, people are going to come and attack me. So, anyway, 2 entries later, we had the official return of Alexa Bliss after 2 years away. And it's very surprising, Alexa Bliss has really been away for 2 years. Damn. But, boy, despite being away for 2 years, she really didn't miss a beat. She tangled it up with Bayley and Natalya. She got probably the biggest reaction of all during this Women's Rumble match, which pretty much goes to tell you about a large majority of this women's division. Probably, maybe, hopefully, if she ever gets tangled up with, the black-haired lady that's holding that Women's World title hostage. I will not say her name. But anyway, Alexa Bliss, she comes back, and I'm very glad that she is back because she is sorely needed in this dead-ass women's division as a whole. And then Trish Stratus entered at number 25, and yeah, that number, pretty symbolic, too. It's her 25th anniversary, and it marks her first appearance in WWE in nearly 2 years. Really, since Payback 2023. It's that steel cage match with Becky. And yeah, I got a chance to meet Trish. Very nice person. Raquel Rodriguez entered at number 26 afterwards to sadly no pop. She helped Liv, as Liv stated, eliminate a couple people like Natalya and Alexa Bliss. And Liv got serious heat for that from the crowd. They did not like that. Charlotte Flair. Woo! The Nature Boy. The Nature Girl. Who had been one of the very few, probably the only hyped person in this Rumble build. Yeah, she entered at number 27. She had all the pomp and circumstance, as usual, with Charlotte. And then she took her long-ass time to the ring. She even got the pyro. We all knew where this was going. And then she went on a tear in her first action back since her very serious ACL injury a year ago. And don't get me wrong, it's nice to see that Charlotte's back in action with from that serious injury, but let's be real here. You know what? I'll save those thoughts for later. I'll save those thoughts for later. So the final entry of this match was Nikki Bella at number 30. Nice to see her back as well. Her first appearance since she got inducted into the Hall of Fame. No, it was 3 years. So she actually did show up in the 2022 Royal Rumble. So I thought it was like the Thunderdome Hall of Fame. But no, she actually did appear in the 2022 Royal Rumble. But after Nikki Bella finished the field started to shrink quick because you had this weird elimination that saw several people go out at the same time. Like Io Sky and Stephanie Vakir, they tried to eliminate each other, but then they got hog-piled on the ring apron. And then everyone else, for some reason, decided to join in on the fun. Like, why the hell are you guys trying to jump in on the little gangbang action that's going on in the apron? So everyone decides to join in for stupid reason. You have Io, Stephanie, Raquel, Bianca, Naomi, and then you get Roxanne and Liv in there. Like, why? Why are you guys joining in on the action? It's like, that you're all stupid for wanting to get yourselves eliminated. So they all get eliminated by Nia Jax because she bumps into, I think it was like Naomi. So they all but Roxanne and Liv get eliminated. But soon, Liv gets eliminated too. Man. Like, Liv, after going runner-up back-to-back years, she doesn't even make the freaking final, at least the final 5. You know, for someone that has made the runner-up, and, 2024, her year, she didn't even, like, she at least made the final 10, but not even the final 5. That's a shame. And that's honestly a shame, man. I mean, she lasted the second longest behind Roxanne, but it's just like, will she ever win one of these? Goddamn. It's like she's starting to become the Josh Allen of the Royal Rumbles. Like, seriously. Liv Morgan is Liv Morgan is the Josh Allen of Royal Rumbles. Like, she always does well in them, but then she never wins one of these. She's starting to become that Josh Allen. Like, seriously. It's kind of getting frustrating as a fan. So anyway, Nia Jax would get eliminated by Roxanne and Charlotte, and then it comes down to Charlotte and Roxanne very quickly, and Roxanne would get eliminated by Charlotte with a big boot on the apron, and that's pretty much it. Charlotte, for the second time in her career, predictably wins the Royal Rumble. So I don't know what else to tell you. Like, the moment Charlotte's return vignettes started airing, I believe it was like the beginning of January, and the return date in the second or third one of them was dated the Royal Rumble. That was pretty much the moment that her victory was guaranteed, with a Charles Barkley sprinkled on them, with a Charles Barkley seal of approval. Probably not even a Charles Barkley seal of approval. Probably just like the Charles Barkley stamp of guarantee. But just because it's predictable doesn't mean it's good, people. Like, I mean, it's nice. It's nice. I'll give Charlotte Flair this. It's nice that Charlotte Flair is back from a very serious knee injury, like ACL, and probably another. I believe there's also another like serious injury that's to her knee that Charlotte suffered, because when she had the injury to Asuka, facing Asuka, that didn't look good. Like that injury did not look good at all. So it's nice that Asuka managed to Charlotte came back after suffering that was a very serious injury, and she mentioned in the post show presser that it's her first injury her first major injury since she started wrestling for the WWE. So she's been on the road for like pretty much her whole run in the decade that she's been there. So I'll give her that. I will give her that. So Charlotte's been pretty reliable for the WWE. But at the same time, though, was this route really necessary when she could use her uber valuable and always there Charlotte in the bank to challenge Tiffany Stratton whenever on the road to WrestleMania? Like, seriously. It's like you had to like give Charlotte the accolade of 2-time Royal Rumble winner. Like, really? Like, this is the route we had to go? Like, oh my goodness. Like, this is kind of unsettling, man. I mean, it's not the worst thing. It's not like the worst thing in the world, but it's just like, it's kind of a letdown. It's kind of a letdown. It's like, what hurts even more is like they didn't even leave any of the top contenders in there, like in the final 6. I mean, you had Bianca, like you didn't even leave Bianca in there. You didn't even leave Liv in there with Nia Jax and Charlotte and then Nikki. I mean, I get you want to establish Roxanne, but it's just like, she's not like, she wasn't even up on the main roster yet. Like, seriously. Like, and especially considering the fact that they rushed the finish compared to the last 2 Royal Rumbles where they let the final 3 breathe. They really let them breathe. Well, other than last year's finish where once Liv eliminated Jade, then like Liv literally just got pushed by Bayley. Other than that, they literally gave the final three time to breathe. They literally just sped ran through the finish because everyone knew in their mother's basement that Charlotte was going to win this damn thing. So Triple H was like, okay, we got to any percent this shit, and so we can move on with our lives. Which is pretty much all you need to know about how Triple Nose books this shit. So when you look at it, yeah, Triple H is not the booker that everyone thinks he is. When you think about it. So before we move on, there are some other things that I took away from this match. So, like I said, Roxanne Perez, she's now the record holder for the single longest woman in that Royal Rumble match, like as a whole. Like she holds the record for longest person in the women's Royal Rumble match. Liv following a close second by a mere 47 seconds. So it's exactly an hour, 47 minutes, and 47 seconds. So Roxanne holds that record, and Liv just barely by 47 seconds. So like I said, like for as much as Liv has been in these Royal Rumbles, I believe it's like 8 now. She's tied with Natalya. It's like she's been in like their like second longest. She's been runner up in back-to-back like 2023, 2024. She's been in at least the final 10. She's the Iron Woman in 2 of the last 3. It's like, I get it. She's coming off a long-ass side run, which is why I didn't expect her to win this one. I mean, it would have been nice if she did somehow to, get one last story beat to tell with Rhea Ripley. It's saying, with like the fact that, she never beat Rhea Ripley clean because, well, we know Triple H is too scared to have his precious golden girl take a clean pinfall for God knows what reason. So I knew that was never going to happen, though. But at some point, though, I really wish Triple Nose would let Liv win one of these Royal Rumbles, man. But watch next year when they're in freaking Saudi Arabia. They're freaking in Riyadh or wherever. That's when Triple Nose is like, oh yes, we're in Riyadh. That's where they love Liv Morgan. Let's have her win it there. Not on American soil though. It's like, what? Okay, like of course, of all places, but whatever. At least if it happens there next year, at least it finally happens. Let's just hope she has much more momentum going into there when it happens next year. But another thing that stood out for me in this Women's Royal Rumble match was the lack of certain people that weren't there. Like I was kind of half expecting Becky Lynch to be in this match, but she didn't show up at all, which surprised me a little bit because, a lot of people are saying, she's going to show up to get some revenge on Liv Morgan, but she didn't. So maybe she's not ready. Either she's not ready to come back yet. I don't know if she's like working on some projects, non-WWE related, or like she's still working with creative or with Triple H to see like what her return's going to look like. I don't know. But the bigger surprise to me with this Royal Rumble match in particular was Jade Cargill not showing up at all, given that she still has her ongoing storyline with Bianca and Naomi. It's like, are we ever going to find out who put her through that car before Survivor Series? It's like, it's been going on for like 3 months now, and we still haven't figured out like that mystery that's been barely mentioned, that's barely progressed. And nothing, not even the slightest bit of hints of what's going on. I don't know, like what the dirt sheets, like the rumor mill is going on with Jade, but I don't know if she's injured or if she's doing some outside work. But like, if we don't get anything about this Jade thing in the next couple weeks on TV, like they're really like screwing the pooch with this one. So like, I really like to know also the direction of, and I'm gonna say this again with the men's Royal Rumble too. There's some uncertain directions with a lot of these women going into WrestleMania, and it's kind of not good timing as well. Like, what's next for Bianca? What's next for Io, Liv, Alexa, Nia, Nikki, and Trish? Because, especially when you have returning talent like Alexa, Nikki Bella, and Trish Stratus, especially with the last two that I mentioned, Nikki and Trish. Like, you have both of these returning vets coming back, and if they're going to be full-time, like that being Nikki and Trish, like, you're going to have to find it. And once the mania card starts to get filled up, how are you going to get them on there? Like, how? So for this Women's Royal Rumble match, yeah, this was really slow. There's a lot of slow periods on here. Like, it really dragged. Not a lot of things happened this one. There were a few good surprises in this one, like Alexa coming back, Nikki coming back, and then Trish being this match was very nice as well. But we all knew where this was going. So yeah, I didn't have any expectations for this Women's Royal Rumble for the third straight year, and well, it managed to get a three-peat out of it, just like the inevitable Kansas City Chiefs three-peat. So Charlotte wins the Royal Rumble, and well, Tiffany Stratton, count your days, girl, because TV time is gonna run out in Vegas. Like, oh Lord, I feel so bad for you. So then we have the WWE Tag Team Champions DIY taking on the Motor City Machine Guns in a 2 out of 3 falls match. A little bit of background story before we get into the actual match itself. Like, there really isn't one because this is basically DIY going from good to bad on the Machine Guns, because when they won the tag team titles about 2 months ago, Johnny Gargano did kick Chris Sabian behind the ref's back to win the titles from the Motor City Machine Guns, who had made their debut back in October, I believe it was. And then 2 months later, they won the titles off the Machine Guns. So basically their 4-month-long dissension between DIY was basically a setup to get the tag titles off of the Motor City Machine Guns. So they had a rematch about a month later, but it ended up in a no contest because of two teams getting into a brawl that spread into the ring, and the Motor City Machine Guns proceeded to beat those teams in the next 2 weeks to get a proper rematch against DIY, which Nick Aldis made into a 2 out of 3 falls match. Yeah, I had no venting interest in this match because, like, I don't care about DIY. I never cared about Johnny Gargano or Tommaso Ciampa. I mean, the Motor City Machine Guns were like my taste like 15 years ago when they were in TNA. Now I just like, I mean, okay, they're in WWE now, but it's like 15 years too late, man. It's like really 15 years too late. So this is basically your typical flips, kicks, all that bullshit kind of match. It's like a really like indie work rate match. So DIY got the first fall when Ciampa faked a tag to Gargano and hit a flying knee to Alex Shelley, fresh off a tag to Chris Sabian. But the Motor City Machine Guns later evened it up with their finisher, the Skull and Bones off of Gargano. And much later in the match, the Machine Guns looked to finish off Johnny Gargano with another Skull and Bones after a frantic signature double team on him. But the Street Profits in the dreaded Black Hood emerged as Angelo Dawkins hit Shelley with the crutch with Montez Ford distracting the referee, while DIY hit their finisher, meet in the middle, on Sabian to score the winning fall and retain their tag team titles. So it seemed like the Street Profits turned heel on the Motor City Machine Guns, but they also laid out Gargano and Ciampa as well. So maybe they're just tired of being overlooked by the rest of the tag team division. So they laid them both out and they're going for gold again. And honestly, why not? Like, why not give it to the Street Profits? Because at least with the Street Profits, they do get a little like, a little too much for my taste, especially Montez Ford. But at least they have charisma. At least they show at least they show an ounce of charisma compared to both of these teams. So, yeah, this crowd wasn't into it either, especially coming off the Women's Royal Rumble, regardless of how I felt about it, and regardless of how other people felt about it. So they had a very impossible task of, trying to get people excited for it. And yeah, not really much else to say about it. So then we had the other most important match of the night, and that was the WWE Championship on the line as Cody Rhodes defended his title against what he deemed as the true WWE Champion, Kevin Owens, in a ladder match. This WWE Championship feud was running deep going into the Royal Rumble. So this dates back all the way in August, per se. Because after Cody Rhodes defeated Kevin Owens in Bash in Berlin, and there wasn't really anything happening post-match. Like, Kevin Owens had that mutual respect to Cody, but there was something else that happened later on, because that signaled that things weren't done quite there between the two. Because after Bad Blood, that pay-per-view in October, where Cody Rhodes teamed up with Roman Reigns, they put their differences aside to go up against Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. Kevin Owens attacked Cody outside of his bus in the parking lot because of that team up with Roman. He considered Cody teaming up with Roman Reigns as a betrayal due to his own long-standing issues with Roman Reigns and the OG bloodline. So that started up the seeds for their feud down the road again. And KO decided to further draw the ire of Cody by taking out Randy Orton a month later after Crown Jewel with a pile driver. A move that's been outlawed by the WWE as they'd been hyping up during that time period. So that led to a rematch at the first episode of the relaunched Saturday Night's Main Event on NBC and Peacock in December 2 months ago. So in a pretty physical back and forth affair where Kevin Owens almost had that match won, but ref shenanigans where the ref was knocked out because of a rep bump. Cody Rhodes won that match again, but post-match, Kevin Owens gave Cody Rhodes a package pile driver that hurt Cody. While stealing the Wing Eagle title, Cody had come out with for that Saturday Night's Main Event specifically. So he steals the title. Kevin Owens begins referring to himself as the true WWE champion that was never robbed, that should be the champion that represents the WWE Universe. But General Manager Nick Aldis announced on the last SmackDown of 2024 that Cody and KO would face each other in a third and final match for both titles in a ladder match at this pay-per-view. And during this build-up, Owens would actually convince some fans that he could dethrone Cody, and fans were actually behind him. Some people were actually wanting Kevin Owens to win this matchup. But everyone and their mother knew that Cody was going to win this, even if he had to embrace his toughness and a little bit of his dark side once again. Just like in his feud with Brock Lesnar almost 2 years ago. So with this match, it didn't take long for this one to get chaotic, because Owens slammed Cody through the legs of one ladder, and then they started brawling in the crowd, pretty much all within 5 minutes. So that pretty much told you how intense and personal this rivalry seemed to be, even though I honestly didn't really pay too much attention to it, because SmackDown was pretty much a chore to get through. Let's be honest here. And then after that, though, I'd say the match really tended to drag. It went on way too long than it needed to be. I think it was over 30 minutes. That's really unnecessary. The match was over 30 minutes, and that's pretty unnecessary. It started to drag, and that's Kevin Owens pretty much dominating this match. For example, Owens dragging Cody down the ladder for a Pop-Tart powerbomb, slamming him on a very small ladder, and then powerbombing him head first on a sideways ladder in the bottom corner, which, it goes to show, it shows Cody's toughness, but it's they're pretty much kind of doing the same things over and over again. So it's just like, yeah, it's time to speed this up now. So the turning point of the match came when Owens hit a fisherman's buster off the top rope for Cody and onto a ladder, which hurt both of them. And it brought out producers, Nick Aldis, and it even brought out Sami Zayn, who who's friends with both of them. They all started checking on them. They're all deciding, like, should we stop this match? But no, Kevin Owens got up. He wants to continue the match because, well, he wants the titles. But then when he wanted to, like, finish off Cody up out of nowhere, and he hit a crossroads out of nowhere. And then he started to, let's go, brother. And then he started slamming Kevin Owens on the announce table so hard that it busted him open. He got him bloodied, brother. So Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes are on the announce table now. KO desperately hit a low blow, and he tried to finish off Cody one last time for good with a package pile driver, like he did at Saturday Night's main event. But Cody reversed it into a deadly Alabama slam that put KO through the ladder. And dude, that looked gnarly. It's like Kevin Owens was like bent in half, like not just through the ladder, but his body bent in half through that ladder, and he looked dead. He looked dead. Like Sami Zayn immediately went to him, and he like checked on him, and it's like, well, Cody couldn't give a shit, obviously. So Cody went back in the ring, climbed the ladder, and grabbed both titles to retain the WWE title and get back the Wing Eagle title. So, like I said, the middle portion of this match, it really dragged. Like some parts of it could have been cut or sped up at least. And it made the overall match like much longer than it needed to be. And it really didn't need to. But I like the intensity towards the end of the match. It really picked up once they got to the tail end with the Fisherman Buster spot. So I really like that part. It also, goes back to, Cody bringing out his, a little bit of his darker side that he needs to get back in when he had that feud with Lesnar a couple years ago. So, yeah, that was a little nice end to their feud. I'm just not sure where Cody Rhodes goes from here, especially, considering what we got with the Royal Rumble match. So I'm not sure where Cody Rhodes goes from here. They did, like I said, they did tease, like this past week when he had that chat with CM Punk, that pressure mounting of him being a champion and him being the face of that company, catching up to him, and whether or not, he's starting to crack under all that pressure. Are they starting a storyline where Cody started to slowly turn heel? I don't know if they're going to do that, given that, he's kind of like this baby face. I don't know. I really don't know where they go from here. They still have a month to decide on that because, they have the Elimination Chamber in Canada, but we'll see. For Kevin Owens, I don't really know where to go from here because they did all this build up for his heel turn for since Bad Blood. So it's been October, November, December, 4 months, 4 or 5 months. And they did a really good job with Kevin Owens, building him up as a heel. But now that it's over, that little feud with Cody that he lost, but they made him kind of strong now. It's just I don't know where you go from here. What do you do? Have him do for WrestleMania? It's you have to think, especially, with all this potential, people on the roster. It's what do you do? What kind of matchup do you put Kevin Owens in for Mania after coming off that feud? It's something to really think about if you're Triple H, and something that you really don't want to mess up, given that you've messed up already with a bunch of other people. So decisions to be made for both guys going into the next couple weeks as we head into the chamber for both Cody and Kevin. So then we have our main event, and that, of course, was the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble match. I would say the most stacked Royal Rumble match, but probably one of the most interesting and most hyped Royal Rumble matches that people were talking about. For me personally, I mean, it had a lot of different ways they could have gone, and probably a lot of interesting avenues they could have taken, and certainly a lot of stories that they could have told in this one. And then also, like, there was a lot of unpredictability in this match. So whatever route that WWE was going to take, well, it certainly was going to be one that had people talking. Whether it's going to be good or bad or ugly, well, that remains to be seen by night's end. So, we'll see how it's going to go, because with this match, with the amount of star power in this one, this was going to be one of the more intriguing Royal Rumbles to date in recent years. So, that being said, who is going to face either Gunther or Cody Rhodes in Las Vegas in a couple months' time? Well, we started off this match, as I mentioned in the Women's Royal Rumble. This is only like what I personally saw from this Royal Rumble, and not every single thing that happened. So, if you're looking for a podcast that does that, then this is not the place for it. But stick around, though. Stick around. So anyway, Rey Mysterio and Penta El Zero Miedo started the match, and I thought was a great first two. I thought Penta and Rey starting out this match was nice. It's like a nice little dream sequence for both of these two that came to life, especially Penta, given that, sure, he's faced off against Rey, like, I believe a couple of times now, but to do it one-on-one in the Royal Rumble, to start out in front of 65,000+ people, it had to be a dream for him. But I will say, though, a nitpick, like Penta, it looked like he got eliminated early because both his feet touched the floor already when Rey took him out, like on one of those head scissors. So, and then Penta looked like both his feet touched the floor, but the referees were like, no. So a little bit of ref ball shenanigans in the Royal Rumble already. So they let him stay in the match, but I'm smelling a little Kansas City Chief shenanigans going on there. So then there were a bunch of jobbers that joined the fray, excluding Chad Gable, because he cool. Just a victim of bad booking. Braun Breaker entered at number 7, and the Dogs, woo! They were barking all over Lucas Oil, and he immediately speared the competition. He immediately speared Carmelo Hayes, and he eliminated both him and Santos Escobar. And then at number 8, it was supposed to go to Akira Tozawa, but he got jumped by Carmelo, of all people. And, well, someone had to replace him. Now, ideally, I would have personally preferred that spot go blank until much later in the match, because it would have set up something more intriguing, but that's not the way they went. So instead, Triple H immediately found a replacement for Akira Tozawa and elected to give the number 8 spot to this streamer by the name of I Show Speed. Like, the kids know I Show Speed, but whoever this guy is, like, he's apparently very popular, gets a bunch of views for the kids out there. I mean, I'm old as hell. I'm not gonna give my age out there, but for all the kids that like I Show Speed, cool for you. You get your exposure with them in the WWE, but I don't know. This was not for me, to be honest with you. So because this was not for me, I Show Speed fucked around and found out with Braun after helping him eliminate Otis. I Show Speed got speared. Thanks for fucking around and finding out. I Show Speed got tossed, and he was seemingly saved, though, by Otis. And you think that, Otis is going to save me. He's going to save my life. But Otis tossed him around, too. He tossed him over to the announce table and officially eliminated him. So thanks for coming, ISO Speed. Don't come again. So then much later, Jacob Fatu entered number 12, and he went absolutely ballistic. This filthy animal, this madman, this werewolf went ballistic on everyone in sight. He eliminated Chad Gable. He eliminated Ray. He eliminated Andrade. He was a man possessed. Like, my God, this man had a really good showing in the Royal Rumble, and so did Ron Breakker too. I forgot to mention that. Ludwig Kaiser entered at number 13, and he initially rushed the ring, but he stopped, and he wanted to pick his time for the right elimination. So he picked on Penta. So when he went to the ring, at the time he found right, he went after Penta, but then Penta quickly eliminated him in less than 5 seconds. So it's clear that they're trying to beat that Santino record from 2009, but it's honestly so quick that it happened that it's never going to happen, to be honest here. So honestly, they need to stop trying it. They really need to stop trying it. So then at number 15, like, we had probably the best spot of the night. I don't know if I argue it was even for the men's or the women's, but at number 15, we said his name and he appeared. We believed in Joe Hendry. The recently crowned TNA champion, Joe Hendry, at number 15, he entered the Royal Rumble match to a very loud ovation in Indianapolis and showcased to the WWE fans, even if his time was brief, why they should be believers. And my gosh, again, even if his time was brief, like, he showcased why eventually, once his contract at TNA runs out, WWE should go all in on him. It's like, do you see how the crowd was very into him? Why he wasn't just a meme? And like, the hate around that man is exclusive to the internet. Like, come on, man. You gotta believe. You gotta believe in this man. I just wish that he have a little bit more exposure outside the internet. It's just a shame that freaking TNA doesn't have a fucking TV channel that's not locked through whatever random ass streaming service, cable provider, like, that you can't even find. So then business picked up at number 16 because it was time to acknowledge greatness. It was time to acknowledge the OTC, the only tribal chief, Roman Reigns. As Roman Reigns looked to right the wrong from 10 years ago in that dreaded 2015 Royal Rumble that he won, as he walked to the ring with a wise man, Paul Heyman. And he got in the ring, eliminated Miz, eliminated Sheamus, and unfortunately, we said his name, and he got speared. Joe Hendry. Yeah, Roman Reigns not a believer in Joe Hendry, unfortunately, and Joe Hendry got eliminated. Like, damn it! I wish Joe Hendry wish he lasted longer, and yet Roman Reigns, I kind of like hate him for that. But I still love my tribal chief. But like, why did Roman have to be the one to eliminate Joe Hendry? God damn it! But hey, at least he got to share the spotlight with Roman. At least that's all that counts for, right? at least that's what it counts for. But then you have this awesome moment with him and Braun Breaker, like that moment with him, Braun, and then Braun actually spears Roman. And he had the dogs barking, but then Braun gets eliminated too. So a little bit of protection there for Braun. So you actually get a spear on Roman, but then Roman just smartly tosses you out at the end though. So I like that. So then Drew McIntyre next enters at number 17 while Roman and Jacob going back and forth. Drew gets his hands on Roman. And then a couple moments later, Jey Uso, Yeet, at number 20 enters, followed by the returning AJ Styles at number 21, coming back from a foot injury, I'm not sure what the specific injury was at the time. And he also got his old theme back. So yeah, no more of that weird ass one that he got at WrestleMania 40 last year. So yes, he's back to the old theme song, and thank God. I did not like that new one that he got. So then we had Braun Strowman enter number 22, and he went darting. He really went darting for Jacob Fatu for what he did to him at Saturday night's main event 2 weeks prior. And Strowman this time, he got the upper hand and eliminated Fatu, who went on a temper tantrum at ringside, and he started rearranging the commentary area. And the crowd was shook. Like the crowd was like, that Strowman eliminated Fatu. Like I'm not sure if they were pissed or they were just like, what the fuck, man? So then at number 23, we had John Cena enter. He had high hopes of winning a third Royal Rumble to get his 17th world title at his final WrestleMania that he's going to compete at. And he went on a flurry, eliminating Braun Strowman, eliminating Finn Balor. Yeah, so much of advancing that Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio storyline, huh? So anyway, so he eliminated both of them in short order. And man, that field started to get star-studded as he had CM Punk and Seth Rollins following suit immediately after Cena. And when you look at that field, when that was lining up there, Roman, Cena, Drew, Jey, AJ, along with CM Punk and Seth Rollins, that's pretty nuts. Like, yeah, sure, the modern WWE landscape's not that great right now, but looking at that field, it's still kind of crazy to look at, being honest here. And then a couple entries later, you have L.A. Knight, yeah, at number 29. And what was his first Royal Rumble match? Calling me surprised on that. And then to wrap it all up, you have Logan Paul entering as the final entry to, well, a not so friendly reaction from the Indianapolis crowd. And then before Logan came out, Jey accidentally eliminated Sami Zayn with a super kick meant for Drew McIntyre. So they're continuing this little story of Sami Zayn accidentally, haluva kicking his buddies, but now he gets the favor returned to him. Favor in air quotes, by the way. And then the eliminations started to pile on. Drew, probably the superstar of the year in 2024, gained a little bit of awkward treatment. Gained eliminated by Damian Priest, who in the elimination was awkward too. Priest just pushed Jey into Drew, and Drew gets eliminated over the top rope just like that. And Drew's face pretty much tells the whole story. It's like, was that really just supposed to happen? And it's like seriously, was the elimination just supposed to happen just like that? Like, because I don't think it was. So then you had LA Knight try to eliminate Logan early, but then Logan jumped off the apron onto the announce table to save himself from elimination. And then he strategically came back to the ring. And then as he made his way back to the ring, AJ Styles was trying to do the phenomenal forearm. But then midway through, when he was about to jump, Logan caught him and then tossed him. He took him down, and then he eliminated AJ that way. And then that's how you got your final six: Seth, Cena, Punk, Roman, Jey, and then Logan Paul. So pretty, that final six is like pretty dang intense. It's like probably like bigger than what we saw in most recent years. So then they go after each other. You get some finisher spamming. Roman, Seth, they do a little unintended team up with each other. Seth spams some curb stomps, and they were the last two standing. And you'd think that they would go eliminate some people, but no, they just hate each other so much. They hate each other so much that like they don't care. They just want to go after each other. They want to fight each other, and they want to eliminate each other. So they're trying to eliminate each other from the Royal Rumble match, but then they forget the goal. They forget the goal of the Rumble match because, well, they both get ousted from the Royal Rumble match by CM Punk. Oof, talk about that. And then Mr. CM Punk also gets immediately ousted by, of all people, Logan Paul, to a very angry reaction from the fans. So, yeah. So neither of the probably the top three favorites of this Royal Rumble match are even in the final, or even the final four. Like Punk, Seth, and Roman. Like the supposed like final four guys, they're not even in there. Like they're not even in there with Cena. That's crazy to think. That was crazy to think about. Like nobody expected Cena, Jey, and Roman. Like everyone expected Cena, but not Jey and Roman. Not Jey and Logan. Like really, it's like wow. That completely changed things. But before we get into that final three, probably one of the biggest story devs to come out of this match was Seth. He finally had his crash out. He finally had enough because he curb stomped Roman on the floor and on the steel stabs, and then he got into it again with CM Punk, and then he also got into it with Paul Heyman. It's like Seth had enough, and it'll be very interesting what direction they go in with that little love triangle affair between those three guys. But we'll talk a little bit more about that after we discuss this Royal Rumble match. So we turn our focus back to the Royal Rumble as the final three was Logan, Cena, and Jey. Yeah, again, not a final three that most people were expecting. So Cena tried to go for that same double AA spot that he did almost more than 15 years ago. So he tried it again, this time on both Logan and Jey, but Jey got out of it. He super kicked Logan, which gave Cena the opening to eliminate Logan Paul, and that left, yes, a final two nobody expected. Also, John Cena and not Logan Paul. Damn it. John Cena and Jey Uso. Did anyone expect that? On their scoreboards, or if you somehow bet on wrestling in the year 2025, Jey Uso being in the final two of a Royal Rumble match. Like, seriously. Like, holy hell. So we get to the final two. Cena, he thought he had the match won by throwing out Jey. Cena's already celebrating, but he doesn't see that Jey held on. And soon they both find each other on the apron, and now they're fighting for control. Jey super kicks Cena, and Cena's like, he almost loses his balance, and he almost let go of the rope. So he grabs Jey for an apron FU, but Jey escapes out of it, and he wins the Royal Rumble match by simply pushing. He just simply pushes John Cena off the apron. And Cena, just like everyone else, is stunned. He's just, we're all stunned as Jey Mother effing Uso won the Royal Rumble match. Like literally. Like when I came home to watch the final moments of this Royal Rumble match, because I was watching it on my phone, and then I came home to watch the rest of it on the TV. I was like, the fuck is happening here? Like Jey Uso, of all people. And I mean, I like Jey Uso, but like the fuck? I thought John Cena had this in the bag. But Jey Uso, really? Like WrestleMania, Jey Uso? Wow. It's like, even like so much time later, like it's still taking me like so much time to process. Like Jey Uso, like from being in a tag team for so long, like for 10 years, and then being in the whole bloodline story, by being in the integral part of it, and then just a year ago, you know, being in one of the worst WrestleMania matches of all time, to suddenly being thrusted as the Royal Rumble winner. Like, wow. Like, absolutely no one thought that he would go out and win the whole thing. Like this time around. Like, wasn't it like last week? Like, wasn't it last week when Jey lost a world title match against Gunther a week prior, and then like 2 days later he was practically having a Yeet concert in Atlanta. Like, the man was having a Yeet concert for 15 minutes, and while he was declaring his Royal Rumble entry, and he was doing it with a bunch of rappers. Like, that's crazy. Like, and given the fact too that the man was losing all but one of his major title matches, and he lost the Money in the Bank contract match that the man was basically advertised for. Like, he had a whole poster the Money in the Bank pay-per-view last year had him on the poster. That's crazy. It's like, I'm not hating on Jey Uso. Because I like Jey Uso. I actually come to actually like the yeet gimmick. It's actually kind of funny. I know some people say, oh, the yeet thing. It's like that's so 10 years ago. But Jay made it popular, more crazier. But it's just like, I'm just like I feel confused. I feel so like, I don't know where I just don't know where to stand. It just feels like a completely left field decision by Triple H, because Jey Uso's in-ring work as a singles competitor, it's severely limiting. Like I said, going back to that WrestleMania match with his brother Jimmy, it was Super Kick City, like all over Philadelphia. Like the fans were not into that at all. Like none. It was like an 11-minute like trip to Super Kick City. So, like, I don't know what, like, I really don't know what the logistics. I don't know what Triple H was thinking. And part of me does think that Triple H like saw this from a perspective too, because at least Jey Uso does move merch. He is very popular with the fans. He has made the yeet thing like very, very over. It's just that you look at it from a bucket perspective though. John Cena, it's his last year in WWE. Like, you give him this Royal Rumble win, sure, it's very predictable. But and if you have him lose at WrestleMania, it pretty much wastes a Royal Rumble spot. And then let's say you give, but if you at least give it to CM Punk, he finally gets the Royal Rumble win that he's been trying to get. And then if you have him win, it gets him that at WrestleMania, it gets some vindication for him. But Jey Uso, it's like now he has to win. It's like you basically have to have him win. And it makes it predictable, but it's like if you don't have him win against one of the champions that he picks, then you're just wasting time, man. And you're also killing Jey Uso with this push. Like you as if you already had it. Like you made him lose all his major chances. So like, and you're giving him the Royal Rumble, like probably one of the biggest accolades in wrestling. It's nuts. It's an insane responsibility to carry. Like Jey Uso has been known for like being a tag team guy for the rest of his career, and he's been a singles guy for almost 2 years now. So I don't know, man. It's gonna take a lot of convincing from Triple H and Jey Uso himself. Like Jey Uso, he really needs to step his game up big time to assure both his biggest supporters and his biggest detractors that he's just more than a mascot. He can just say more than neat, because I know Jey Uso can say more than neat. Like look at his work that he did with Roman, like in the early story, like in his early days of the bloodline, like during his first feud with Roman, like in like when Roman first won the Universal title, like that Night of Champions in Hell in a Cell matches, the lead up to that, like the man can actually cut a promo. Like the man can actually cut a good promo. It's just that they relied so much on the yeet stuff that it hammers him down. Like it really hammers Jay down. Like you really need to have him locked down on making him a serious promo. And then wrestling wise, you can't have him be a 5-move player, like going into the absolute biggest match of his career. And let's be honest here, he's not main eventing, headlining either night of WrestleMania. Because let's be honest here, like I don't even know the direction anymore of this, either one of these nights of WrestleMania. as unfortunate it's going to sound, Charlotte's going to be taking one of those nights, probably night 1 at best. Night 2, probably Cody. Probably Cody's going to take the other night. Because let's just rate, Jay's going to go after Gunther to get the World Heavyweight title, unless by some miracle chance, by whatever weird booking that Triple H has, he'll go after Cody. So, I don't know. I really don't know what led to this decision by Triple H to have Jey Uso win this Royal Rumble match. Like, I really didn't. But I know I talked about this long enough already, because I want to talk about some other things that happened in this Royal Rumble. Like Braun Breaker and Jacob Fatu, they had some really nice performances in the Royal Rumble. They looked like absolute beasts. And they were also really protected too, like on the way out. Like Braun Breaker, like he speared Roman, like I said, but then as he tried to toss him out, Roman just outsmarted him. I like that. But like I said, with the Women's Royal Rumble, some questions about some of the major players going into WrestleMania season. Like, what's next for AJ Styles? What's next for Drew McIntyre? What's next for, the guys that got eliminated? Like Seth, Roman, Punk. Speaking of them, where do they go with that little love affair that they're going on right now? I mean, they're probably going to be in that number 1 contender elimination chamber match with John Cena next month. But I feel like, with the way things are going with Roman, Seth, and CM Punk, they're going to probably find a way to cost each other that match as well. I don't know if it's going to lead to a 3-way at WrestleMania, but I prefer it be a singles match with Roman and Seth, given that, honestly, their hatred for one another is really starting to boil again. But I don't know, man. This men's Royal Rumble, it really confused the hell out of me. It's like, I mean, I'd say it started off very strong for the most part, but then once we start to realize that when Roman, Seth, and Punk got eliminated and they started to build their own story, it's like, and then we got to either Jay or Cena. I was like, uh-oh. And I'm not saying it's going to be a bad thing yet, but I mean, you just got to see where it goes from here. And I just hope that Triple H really knows what he's doing, because if this backfires hard, then he has no one to blame but himself. And I just feel bad for Jay if this backfires hard, because especially once he wins that championship, and I do think he will win that championship, he's got to find a way to keep on building that momentum post WrestleMania. And yeah, post WrestleMania booking doesn't exactly tend to be friendly for the new champions once they get to the top, because the chase is usually better than the title run for whether you're a babyface or a heel. So overall, when you're looking at this Royal Rumble, I'd say, given the hype surrounding the men's Royal Rumble and the ladder match, honestly, it's only average at best. Like, it did leave me stunned though. Don't get me wrong. Like for the Royal Rumble matches, like the last 2 years, and I'd say even 3, very predictable Rumble winners. But for once, one of 2 of them, it actually left me very shook. Like, again, didn't expect Jey Uso to actually win this Royal Rumble. But also at the same time, there are a lot of questionable booking decisions around both of these Royal Rumble matches, especially with the eliminations and how we got there. Charlotte too predictable. Jay could be in a complete left turn with a lot of questions. And I feel like, the direction of this WrestleMania is starting to look really different than what many people had imagined 6 months ago. Because, you're looking at a potential card that's going to have Roman versus Seth, or in probably even CM Punk, and it might not even have a title on the line. We don't even know if Cody's going to face John Cena. You're probably not going to have The Rock on the show because, that's pretty much going to be confirmed. That pretty much confirmed that Rock's not going to be on the show anymore unless by some miracle that he shows up in the next couple of weeks. Rock's not going to be on this Mania card because, he pretty much showed on the next Netflix premiere that he's all smile and hugs. He's no longer the final boss. He's just corporate Rock. So, yeah, The Rock pretty much showed that he chose to do a live-action Moana that nobody asked for instead of finally fulfilling the dream match that everybody had asked for instead, which was The Rock versus Roman Reigns. So, we're probably not getting that match anymore. And it also essentially kind of screwed over the pretty much closing chapter of the Bloodline. So, yeah, I don't know where we're going with this WrestleMania. And I don't know where we're going with a bunch of other names on the card. What does Bianca do? I know she's waiting for Jade. I don't know what returning names like Alexa Bliss, Nikki Bella, AJ Styles. There's so many unanswered questions. And yeah, this year, kind of like last year, I don't know if that's a good thing. I don't know if that's a good thing for the WWE to have right now. I mean, sure, you're getting some depth pieces back, but to have a lot of these unanswered questions going to WrestleMania, and they're having to pretty much figure out what they need to do to fill out that WrestleMania card with just 2 months out. That's not good. They pretty much have to figure out what the heck to do right now. They should have this figured out months ago. They really had to wait on the Rock. They really had to wait on Dwayne for this. It's a reverse of last year. It's literally a reverse of last year. Really. So overall with this Royal Rumble, I mean, it's not the worst show in the world, but also not the greatest show in the world. And it's not total crap, but again, a lot of questionable booking decisions, and it has a men's Royal Rumble winner that, it's gonna be pretty decided once we get to WrestleMania in a couple of months. All I could say is that main event Jey Uso, he really needs to start living up to that name, in a hurry. So those are my thoughts on the 2025 Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on YouTube or slide into the DMs on my socials at Very Cold Lasagna, whether it's on Twitter or Instagram. And yeah, pretty rather interesting start to the road to WrestleMania. A complete left field, which I still hold to the belief that was kind of screwed up because, The Rock decided to film a live-action Moana. Yeah, but you can't win them all, can you? But anyway, we're off on the road to WrestleMania, and until the next episode, which we'll be talking about the Super Bowl and that inevitable three-peat, I'm your host, Dylan Lasagna. Thank you for tuning to episode number 249 of this icy yet spicy sports podcast entitled Very Cold Lasagna. And until the next episode, keep your filthy casual takes on the world of sports in the fridge. And until I see you, when I see you in the next episode, peace out.